Right. 1 March 2022, and the year is almost coming to an end, Doc. Everything is happening so fast. And as I said, this year has started at a blistering pace. A lot of things have happened within this very short space of time in 2022. This is probably the most eventful year ever. And what I want to do is sometime this week, I'm going to play the prophecy of 2022, what is going to happen this year, which was delivered in 2018. And it's very interesting, that prophecy, which I recorded with one of the prophets here in Zimbabwe. And most of the things that are happening now are contained there. So, Doc, how are you doing and what's happening in Botswana?
Gambakwe, I'm very well. How are you? Okay, in Botswana here, just as we were talking the other day, you were asking me about robbery and stuff like that. We actually experienced some robbery just about a few days ago, which resulted in a shootout and led to the loss of lives of 10. And it's the times, Gambakwe, and those are sad happenings anyway. But otherwise, I want to greet the viewers and you, Gambakwe. How have you been?
I've been very well, and everything is going very, very well. Gambakwe Media, during elections, is the place to be. I'm sure if you ask Chamisa where he's sitting now, he knows the impact that we had in 2018, and he understands how important it was to have Gambakwe on his side. I think you understand what I'm talking about, Doc.
Well, like I always say, you media people are very important in various ways, especially in disseminating information, particularly at this critical juncture where our country faces two very critical elections. First, the by-election and the harmonized election that is coming in 2023. And Gambakwe, like I always say, Gambakwe is a media of choice, and like it or not, many people listen, and it is up to you, Gambakwe, also to make sure that you continue doing the work you are doing and make sure that people get the best and real news that they need to get.
Okay, so Doc, let's go into the topic. I want us to wrap this up in less than 10 minutes. Nelson Chamisa had 2 rallies this weekend, one in Gokwe, one in Kwekwe. There was violence at both of the rallies. The first rallies, Nelson Chamisa supporters attacked police at Gokwe Center. And obviously, that was news for Saturday. And then on Sunday, there was an attack on Nelson Chamisa where he had to be pulled off the stage. And you remember that incident, we played it last week, and I don't want to play it again. And one person died during that attack. The police arrested the people who attacked that rally, and the person who died is Mboneni Ngube. He's going to be buried, and there's currently a tussle for his body, with both political parties claiming that he's a member of their party. So ZANU-PF people are claiming that he's their member. CCC is claiming that the Mboneni is their member. So these 2 incidents happened last weekend. But this weekend, Nelson Chamisa has a rally in Bulawayo, and that's what I want us to look at. Is it safe for Nelson Chamisa to travel to Bulawayo?
Okay, thanks very much, Gambakwe, for that question you just posed. But probably it is tried that I start by expressing my sadness, the sadness amongst many Zimbabweans, and particularly the CCC supporters, on the passing on of one of their members at the hands of a violent infraction at their otherwise peaceful and electric rally. And probably this is the right time for, I mean, one would say that to denounce violence political violence, election violence in all its form that it may occur, and by whosoever commits it, it has to be denounced. It has to be you know, I have to say it belongs to the dustbins of history in a modern day Zimbabwe. And it's said that ugly head of violence, as we have seen in 2008, seem to be on the rise. Now, I'll come to your question in which you are asking, will Chamisa be safe? Obviously, I cannot talk to that issue without delving into the two rallies that you just mentioned. Probably, firstly, I would say the Harare, particularly Highfield rally, literally was a test case for ZANU-PF and those who were watching to see what Chamisa is likely to do, what kind of support he would have. And obviously, the Highfield event drowned ZANU-PF, it drowned Monzora. Is a pale shadow of what he pretended to be. And ZANU-PF obviously was drowned by the numbers that were seen at Highfield. Now, the next week was Gokwe, and we saw what happened, Gambakwe. I wouldn't agree with you when you say Nelson Chamisa supporters attacked the police. In fact, it is the police that banned, that purported to have banned that rally. And we all know that issue ended in court, and the court cleared it. Yet the police continued to lie, and we saw the police with the water cannons and tear gas, you know, in that place, disrupting what could have otherwise been a very successful rally. And what we saw, probably the throwing of stones, was just a reaction. Gambakwe, remember, after provocation, and particularly by those who are supposed to protect, that was a provocation. And, well, having done that, we saw that rally. In fact, for me, it was a success because we saw how the people then toyed and expressed themselves, expressed the love that they have for their leader, Nelson Chamisa. Now, the next day, we saw that very sad event that happened at a very electric rally, I should say, at a rally in which the young people showed a thunderous support for Nelson Chamisa. And before it went on far, we saw the ZANU-PF thugs attacking that rally. And whatever might be said, we've all seen the police communication that the culprits or those who are being accused as ZANU-PF card holders. And there is no doubt that it is ZANU-PF people. So to answer your question, will he be safe in Bulawayo? I should answer and say, what is saddening, Gambakwe, is that we have not heard any comment, any press statement from the ZANU-PF leaders, particularly the president himself, because this affects not only the environment in the country, his party, and how he is viewed locally and internationally, regionally and internationally. We have not seen, we've heard silence from him, which sort of gives credence to the fact that there is tacit approval by the authorities on what is happening. Because had they been thinking, or if ever it crosses their mind that this election should be peaceful, I think they should have been even at the forefront to even invite Nelson Chamisa to a combined presser to say, let's denounce violence from both our supporters. But what we have seen is that the CCC has been at the receiving end. And I want to applaud Advocate Nelson Chamisa in his presser yesterday, in which he clearly came out to explain their side of the story. We have not had a serious response from ZANU-PF, which makes it actually a scary adventure that as we go to next weekend, and we expect that even bigger numbers are going to turn up in Bulawayo at White City Stadium. But as long as ZANU-PF supporters are not reined in by their leaders, as long as those alcohol intoxicated, unemployed youths hired and rented to disrupt Triple C rallies are not reined in by a public statement coming from the highest office, then it means that we might see a repetition of what has been happening. But without scaring Zimbabweans out there, they should go out because it is their constitutional right to gather, to support, to associate with whatsoever political party of their choice. And Gambakwe, I think President Chamisa in his address did very well to put the SADC, SADC, and the United Nations on notice, because definitely in Zimbabwe it starts as a small little fire. A death of a person is not a joke, but this is not the first death. We have seen Mr. Jambe around in Mashingo there, who was killed in same political violence, and even the culprits are yet to be brought to book. And if this little fire is let to go on and on, it will burn Zimbabwe, as we saw in 2008, at which stage SADC intervened, but the damage had already been done. We need a peaceful election, and I only wish and hope that ZANU-PF leadership, particularly at the highest level, can then come out in the open and denounce violence. But we all had...
Okay, Doc, can I hold you, Doc? I want to hold you because you're going with that statement. So I want to play for you something.
Sure.
No violence. We want our elections to be free of violence. I plead with you, it's more important, it's more powerful for us to be peaceful. It's more powerful. It means we are mature, and ZANU-PF is mature. We should not be detracted by small little politicians around the country who go about preaching hate speech. No, no. We must preach love. We must preach unity. People are allowed to differ. You must allow your brother, your sister to differ with you, but never be violent because your sister is different with you. Because
right, Doc, I don't want us to be unfair. President Mnangagwa spoke on Friday at this rally, and he denounced the violence. Do you agree?
Gambakwe, I don't want us to sit here and act as if we do not understand how ZANU-PF operates. And I don't agree with your statement. We know that ZANU-PF has always had the tendency of indicating right and turning left. I was reading one of Dr. Magaisa's articles in which he was talking about what he calls gaslighting. Exactly what ZANU-PF does, right? I know even you can tell with the body language of President Mnangagwa there that the commitment to stopping the violence, he is the president not only of ZANU-PF, he is the state president who has the control of state apparatus, and particularly the security sector, which is responsible for stopping any kind of violence. Zimbabwean police are known very well as efficient in terms of following up on criminal elements. But why is it that when it is violence that is meted against Triple C, you see a lethargic approach, you see a nonchalant approach to bringing to book those that would have been implicated? And make no mistake, Gambako, while the president is saying that, I think that should be followed by action. Words alone do nothing. Like I told you, why doesn't he's the president of a country? And the fact that he is even talking about Don't be distracted by little parties that preach hate. Where, Gambakwe, you can't even tell me on any one rally that President Nelson Chamisa has incited violence, except that he has spoken to the issues that grip this election, issues that are going to be topical in this election. But don't forget, Gambakwe, that 3 days ago we had Vice President Chiwenga saying that Nelson Chamisa is like David, and we are like Goliath, and Nelson Chamisa will be crushed like lies. That is a statement.
Doc, that's not true, Doc. That's not a true statement. No, Doc. Let's not quote people wrongly.
Can I?
No, I'm not responding. I'm just saying.
You are free to interject after I finish this statement.
But you're saying an incorrect statement. You're saying he said Nelson Chamisa is like lies. That's not true. Because this is a very sensitive period.
No.
Let's not say statements that are incorrect.
He said he should be crushed like lies. Please put that clip for your viewers to see, Gambakwe.
Let me just look for it, Doc. Let me look for it so that we don't misquote Vice President Chiwenga. I don't think he said that.
As you look for it, can I continue? And then you put it. You are free to put it. We all have it. I could send it to you right now because I have it on my phone. And we have not had the president rebuke his deputy, right? However, for me, what is comforting is that his words are both chillingly inciting, right? But they are as well prophetic, inciting in that less than 24 hours after he said that, we saw those thugs invade the Kwekwe CCC rally, and sadly, we had a loss of life of one person. But I'm saying comforting because, and prophetic because we all know what happened between David and Goliath. As much as Goliath,
can we play it? Can we play it, Doc? Can we play this statement?
And the earthly ways of defeating David had God on his side, and we all know what happened to Goliath. He was history.
Okay, let's play this, Doc. Let's play this. Right. I'm looking at this statement. Unfortunately, that is all I have. He didn't say he's going to crush Chamisa like lies. Send me what you've got. Send me what you've got.
Okay, Gambakwe, then you should have put out the statement as it is. It's unfortunate that the WhatsApp I'm using right now, I would send you, but I would send you for your viewers to see, and we can repeat it in the next statement. Gambakwe, there is no doubt it is out there for everyone to see. And you can defend him all you want, but that is a statement I am saying, and I have no reason to misquote him. It is there. And even the statement in your video where he's saying, we are big as gold, just that alone from a whole vice president is inciting. And this statement is obviously cut so that we do not see what happened. Gambakwe, the bottom line is, at the top leadership, there is incitement of violence, which must be condemned with all the contempt, with the highest contempt that it deserves. And because you brought me President Mnangagwa's statement, and all I'm saying is that yes, they have got a tendency to play to the gallery, to say the words that the gallery would want to hear, but in action, what do? We see what happens. What happened in Kwekwe is one sad example. And Gambakwe, you as a media person, I would put it to you that you need to rebuke violence where it happens. And history will judge who was right. History will judge, because sometimes our prejudices at a particular time can cloud our judgment, can cloud how we perceive things. But these are things in reality, in real time, where we see people losing their lives. But history doesn't forget, Gambako. History records. And political violence, like I said in my opening statement, by whosoever who commits it, does not have a place in a modern day Zimbabwe. And it should be condemned not only by me, not only by Chamisa, but by President Mnangagwa, by Vice President Chiwenga, by yourself, by every right-thinking Zimbabwean. For which I say, as we go to the White City Stadium rally for the CCC, let's talk peace. And we just hope that there is not much mobilization on the negative side to disrupt what is otherwise supposed to be a democratic competition between the CCC and ZANU-PF.
Okay, Doc, let's go to what Nelson Chamisa said yesterday. I've got a little clip that I want to play for you.
We have enough mechanisms to make sure that we will protect.
Sorry about that, Doc. I just need to get Emmanuel off my screen because I don't want him to say I'm silly. That's why I'm looking for a way of removing him, but unfortunately he's stuck there. So anyway, let's go back to let's go back to the Chamisa speech.
We have enough mechanisms to make sure that we will protect citizens who come to our rallies. Once bitten, twice shy. That also entails that those who are associated with ZANU-PF may not be able to have access to our rallies. And that entails across the spectrum. Because we've seen that our own laxity, our own magnanimity and generosity is being abused. We will limit access to our venues to those who are genuine journalists, who are not working for ZANU, and we know you. We will not allow you.
What do you say of that speech by Chamisa? Is that peaceful?
Gambakwe, to answer that question, I have to be frank, brutally frank with you. And you know what I'm going to say right now is the truth. That who in Zimbabwe has the history of committing political violence? 1. 2, who in the history of politics in Zimbabwe has control of the state apparatus, which has the ability to either instigate or to stop violence? We know it is ZANU-PF. We know very well that the CCC today, just like its predecessor, the MDC, have been at the receiving end of violence. And Gambakwe, Nelson Chamisa has every right to express the fact that when they are attacked like they have suffered for a long time, they have to find strategies of stopping that. That's why he said our generosity is being abused. We have mechanisms, and in this, I think he's talking about security mechanism in which to stop, to barricade those who would intrude into their rallies. That is a very peaceful statement, but I can also say it is a statement of crying out there to the government to say, come on, protect us. You are the government. You have the constitutional right to do that. It doesn't matter. You know, when it comes to politics is a game there, but the government of the day has to be seen to be all-encompassing, to protect the integrity of the state. Zimbabwe now is a laughing stock because our own government cannot come out in the open and show their efficiency at stopping violence, political violence for that matter. We see police stopping and disrupting very genuine, legitimate political activities of legitimate political movements such as the CCC. Why? Why is that? Is it that those police with you know, such enthusiasm, exuberant enthusiasm, they go about with water cannons disrupting opposition rallies, but they cannot do the same in protecting them. Why is that so? Why is it that they put such restrictions on the CCC when they want to hold their rallies, yet they do not do that with ZANU-PF? Why is it that the same police do not treat both the parties with equal with an equal hand? Gambakwe, people see through whatever is happening. That's why I said Zimbabweans, the good thing about them is that they will always punish the oppressors at the ballot. But there is no doubt, Gambakwe, that all this is happening because the CCC and their yellow movement is literally and metaphorically drowning ZANU-PF, drowning all political pretenders, drowning a paradigm that ZANU-PF has run with for over the years without modernizing Zimbabwe. This is a new movement which talks to the youth today, which talks to the generation today. And by the way, those words are still real today, that no matter what, nothing can stop an idea whose time has come. And there is an idea in Zimbabwe that we should change our society, we should modernize it, we should make it a more youth-friendly environment where youths have got jobs, where youths are not used, rented to commit violent actions under the intoxication of musombodia and all other intoxicating substances that they are given by those big-bellied people who amass wealth and power for their own aggrandizement. So this election, actually, it's history-making in that after 26th March, a result shall come in which Zimbabweans will clearly speak who they want, and it will be a precursor to 2023. And Gambakwe, zvinonzi chingoma chiririsi ndo chiparuki. When you see violence rearing its ugly head like this, and the leaders at the top do not make very serious interventions, you know that it's about to happen. Change is about to happen.
Doc, let me play this. I want to go to the next question. I want us to wrap this up. Right, Doc, do you remember that?
Very well. It's something
right.
that
These are people who are guarded by the, I think President Mnangagwa is the best security in Africa. Vice President Chiwenga has got the best security. In fact, if you put together the security of the people who are on that stage, it's probably half of the security infrastructure in Zimbabwe. Now we have Nelson Chamisa going to the same stadium on Saturday with not allowing police into the rally. They say they don't want security from the police. What do you think is going to happen?
Gambakwe, let's not even incite in our speech. In a free Zimbabwe, Nelson Chamisa is free to go to the White City Stadium, campaign, put out his political message for this election without fear of anything, because this is a free Zimbabwe. In fact, those who are in leadership of the country today claim that they have liberated this country from the shackles of colonialism, which sought to oppress in all ways. Chamisa and his party should be given the support. Why they say that? It is because they've realized that those, in fact, elements who are not real police, but who are camouflaged in police uniforms instead of coming to do the policing job that they are supposed to do, to protect citizens, those who come to associate with political parties of their choice. They won't do that. And it is out of that frustration, Gambakwe. It is out of that realization that, in fact, those that are supposedly supposed to be policing and giving a service of security are part and parcel of that, those that brutalize them, those that conspire to kind of disrupt their events. And Gambakwe, Chamisa is human, but he has tried under those conditions to try and be calm, to try and let their activities go on. I don't wish violence like what we saw at White City to the president at that time. It was sad because it's something that we have not seen in Zimbabwe. It reduces us to a rogue state, to an insecure state, to a state that, I mean, like Somalia, I mean, for crying out loud. Yet we are a country of the most literate in Africa, a society that at 1980 was regarded as a jewel of Africa. And to have our leaders let us slide, descend to such laws, it's not only embarrassing, it is something that is, I mean, that we should not even accept. So I honestly think that the state should provide genuine security to all political parties, and ZEC should ensure, as the institution mandated to run our election, should ensure that all that has to be done to secure political players is done without fear or favor. Gambakwe, that is a Zimbabwe we want. People can say whatever they want. That is the Zimbabwe we want. ZANU-PF should be able to campaign on one side, MDC on the other side, compete on issues, compete on the political and topical issues of the day. For instance, today the topical issues are unemployment. The topical issues are issues of the economy, of runaway inflation, issues to do with the human rights of the people. Let ideas fight out there. Let it not be physical and violent. That's the Zimbabwe we want to come back.
Okay, Doc, I hear you. And I think let's give Mr. Rusike here, Jetro, JCTV Zimbabwe, a chance to respond to this question. Very important question. If President Idi Mnangagwa, Vice President Chiwenga, Opam Chinguri, Kembo Mohadi, on the stage with, let's say, 500 security details, were bombed, and up to today we don't know who bombed them. Chamisa, under these violent threats, he goes to White City Stadium. Do you think that his life is in danger there? JCTV.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gambakwe and Doctor. How are you? It's a very interesting topic that you are tackling today. I mean, you bring something that is important, like what happened in 2018, the White City bombing. We know what happened. But I presumably think that there is a lot that is hidden about that investigation that happened with the person that did the White City bombing. Also, the other thing that is there is that the story between, there is some stories that came out that the man who actually did it, I think it was Honorable Themba Mliswa, who mentioned about the man when he was bragging about the man who did the White City bombing, when he was bragging to his lover, and that's how they managed to catch him. As for the trial, we are not sure of what is happening because it's something that is being handled by the army. But coming back to the question of whether Nelson Chamisa is safe or not, if the likes of Vice President Kembo Mahadi, Vice President Constantine Chiwenga, and the President Emmerson Mnangagwa the issue that is there is there are issues, there are prosecutions or arrests that have been made in 2017 that up to now they have not been successfully prosecuted. One, for example, is the arrest of former Minister Ignatius Chombo. He was arrested, and up to now there is no prosecution. He has not faced jail time except remand. The other example again is the minister who is from Manicaland was at the helm of NASA. Arrest was made. She went to Chikurubi for some time, and she got out. So, what I totally agree with what Doctor is saying, that there seems to be no political will, or there seems to be no effort on the government side to make sure that if somebody is caught on the wrong side of the law, they are supposed to be made an example so that others will be deterred from doing it. For example, the man who bombed the White City Stadium was supposed to be made an example. And another example of the people that we were told in 2017 that these are criminals that are surrounding the former president, Robert Mugabe. We thought they were going to be made an example. Unfortunately, up to now, there is no successful prosecution of these people. The same applies with the people that are being implicated in the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission. All of these individuals, we are hearing names, but then it's like a catch and release. So I think there is no political will and there is no conviction to make sure that things are done right. Hence the outcry to say, Nelson Chamisa, as much as we love to see him in Bulawayo, the safety of the people there, there is a possibility of him being compromised, or the people that are going to attend the rally, because of these habits of the ruling party, or the habits of the police, or the habits of the prosecuting authorities. They are not swift to make sure that people are held accountable, especially when it comes to issues that are to do with the political parties or civil society, or anything that is not related to the current government. So that's all that I can say, Mr. Kambaba.
Right, Mr. Ruzike, I think what I will do is I'll call you back here on Saturday. I've heard your very interesting input on the rallies in Kwekwe, and I want us to unpack it on Saturday after the rally itself, after what would have happened on Saturday. Thank you very much for joining me and Dr. Mteneri today. So I'll see you again on Saturday.
Thank you, Mr. Rusike.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. So Mr. Rusike is gone. So let's conclude, Doc. You heard what Mr. Rusike said. Chamisa should not go there, because if something happens, it will be very bad. And people should not gather in that rally because the security is not sufficient. What do you say?
That is scaremongering that should not even be entertained. The president proclaimed dates for an election, 26th March, and we have entered election season. And Zimbabwe is capable, has the capacity to secure its people. Zimbabwe has the capacity to ensure that its citizens' constitutional right of political association, freedom of association, is protected and even promoted. So no scaremongering that Chamisa should not go to White City should be entertained. Why not? Zimbabwe is not a country at all. In fact, it is upon the government, and just like Mr. Rusike has just said, which is what I was saying all along, that it is up to government. It is up to the political leaders' will. It is up to the president's will. If I want to take you back to 2018. The run up to 2018 election, he allowed for a relatively, I'm not saying it was free, for a relatively open environment in which we saw Advocate Chamisa carrying out his rallies. Obviously, ZANU-PF always pretends. Immediately after they were defeated on 1 August, they reverted back to their old self. They can, the ZANU-PF government can still do the same what they did to the run-up to 2018. Let them put...
Okay, but Doc, you're not answering the important question. Is Chamisa safe? Is Chamisa safe to go there? Should he go? Because we know all these things that you're saying. Is he safe to go to Bulawayo and address that rally? Is he not going to put you in danger?
Can I ask you a question? Safe from who? Safe
from
who?
We don't know who is attacking people.
We know, Gambakwe. That is exactly the point. That's why you are not listening to my answer. We know that ZANU-PF are the perpetrators of violence, Gambakwe. Gambakwe, the Kwekwe rally and the arrests have already shown us who the people are. They are known. The people in Kwekwe know the very people that have...
Okay, so is he safe to go there? If it's ZANU-PF, is he safe to go there?
Then ZANU-PF should deal with it. Then ZANU-PF should deal with it. Because ZANU-PF is in government. ZANU-PF should deal with it. And ZANU-PF's president, as the state president, announced the election dates. He was not forced. In fact, when he announced them, it was already outside of the constitutional requirement that a by-election should be held after 90 days. What made him declare those dates?
Okay, so let's play this by popular demand. People want to hear this. People want to hear this speech. Let's replay it. I listened to it. I didn't hear Vice President Chiwenga saying you crush Chamisa like lice. Let's hear what he said.
Change to prevent the opposition party from winning elections and attaining control of the state. Addressing ZANU-PF supporters at a campaign rally in Kwekwe to the biblical Goliath, Chiwenga said, "You see how we crush lice with a stone." Blessing Chibundo speaking here as who? We are as big as Goliath. Is the former MDC Kwekwe.
Okay, I'm not getting the speech. All I'm seeing is commentary everywhere I look. If someone has got this speech, please send me, because I've been looking for the speech and seeing where Vice President Chiwenga said we'll crush Chamisa like lice. There's no way. What I've heard is there were points when you talked about a stone and lice, but he didn't say that you crush Chamisa like lice. That's not true.
Gambakwe, let's just suppose you didn't hear it. Why are you defending such kind of a statement?
Send me the clip.
I am putting it to you to say, if he said that, then that should be condemned. Say it.
No, but people tend to twist words.
But why are you defending?
No, people tend to twist words. That's not what was said.
As a media person, you also twist words sometimes. You even put commentary as you understand, according to your perspectives. But I'm putting to you, Gambakwe, that if it is true what we are saying, and which it is, condemn it right on your media.
First, what I want to see is I want to see the actual. I've asked people here to send me the video or the statement. No one has been able to send me. All I'm seeing is commentary. Nothing from when I watched that speech. It didn't say that. So let's not put, because we're polarizing people even more. The leaders have said there must be peace. They've not said there must be violence. And you heard President Mnangagwa speaking. He said there must be peace. The question that I'm asking you here is, let's say there are other people causing violence out there. Is Chamisa safe to go to Bulawayo? Should he be putting people in danger? Should he be putting people in trucks and sending them to Bulawayo and gathering him in a place where he cannot protect them?
Gambakwe, electioneering, which includes gathering at political rallies, especially at an election time, which has been gazetted, which has been proclaimed by a state president. Nelson Chamisa has every right, has every constitutional right to gather his people, his supporters. And it is the constitutional obligation, the constitutional mandate of the security sector, which is headed by the executive, that is the president of ZANU-PF. It is their obligation to make sure, to ensure that they provide that security by whatever means. So that question doesn't arise, Gambakwe. Nelson Chamisa is putting no one into danger. This election, this election has been proclaimed by the president. And this very president is holding peaceful rallies in which he is not disturbed because he has all the state machinery around him. And he buses, including school children, to his rallies where there are thousands and thousands. And we see people fighting for loaves of bread after. So what they have is they are bussed and they are given loaves of bread, slices of bread. And he has peace. No Triple C supporter comes there to disrupt. Why is this? Does that question arise today whether Chamisa should go there or not go there? This is a struggle anyway. Chamisa is safe to go to White City. Zimbabwe is a free country, and this is an election which was proclaimed. And it is up to government to make sure that they provide such security. In fact, if they listen to such, every reason that they have to make sure that they beef up security even more, to make sure that the biggest opposition, the biggest alternative in Zimbabwe is protected. We can't be a laughing stock of Africa. On SABC, I look at it. I look at news clips and how we are embarrassed simply because we have leaders who put self before country, who put themselves and their aspirations to power first before they protect the integrity of their country and their own citizens. What happened in Kwekwe should have made the president, a whole president, take serious action. But there is dead silence from that side, which shows you where the tacit approval of these very, very violent and deadly actions are coming from. And Gambakwe, me and you today, we should combine to condemn that violence, that it should never happen, that Nelson Chamisa and his Triple C party are free to go to White City, are free to go and campaign and spread their gospel of what they want to do if they get into power, if they get into parliament, if they get into council. What is their program of action? They are allowed to do that. And it is not upon me and you to say he should stop going there. In fact, this is the time to rally and tell all Triple C supporters to say, in your large numbers, continue to drown any other political pretender out there. And no force, no amount of force of scaremongering, no amount of intimidation can stop, especially a great idea whose time has come. And this is the time, Gambakwe, that change is supposed to happen in our country.
Okay, Doc, I've heard you. I heard what you said. And I've got my own personal opinions about things. The reason why I bring you is I don't want to push down my opinions on you. I really want to hear what you think. And I accept what you think. But I've made my point known. I've made my understanding of the situation known. That Chamisa is in no position right now, before investigations are complete, to protect people. And something very bad could happen. And if I was Chamisa, I would not do another rally or do another public appearance under these circumstances. So that is my opinion, but I accept what you said, that Chamisa has got the right to go wherever he wants to go. And then he also has a responsibility to bear the consequences.
But if I can ask you, what is your view based on? Why shouldn't he go there? He is a political leader who is operating within an election period which was proclaimed by a president, except if there is a state of emergency somehow that has been declared by the same president. On what basis are you saying you have made your mind known on what he should do? On what basis should you should you stop
on the basis that the investigation is not complete? You don't have all the facts of who caused the attack. I don't think ZANU-PF would sit in a meeting and say, go and attack Chamisa publicly at a rally. I do not think that is possible. That is what I've said. I think that there's more at play. And we could see another White City situation happening this weekend because we don't know all the facts of who orchestrated that attack. You think those young guys, had orchestrated that attack?
Gambakwe.
No, Doc, answer the question I'm asking you. Do you think those young 17 guys orchestrated the attack?
My thoughts, Gambakwe, on that is that you always talk about ZANU-PF as a system. It's not my words, it's your words, in which you say it is a system. And it is a system in which it protects its own, even those that are implicated, as Mr. Rusike just highlighted to us, that even that gory event of 2018, no one has been brought to book, but the people are known. It's on the ZANU-PF government. They are in power. And if they fail to provide one of the fundamental mandates, constitutional obligations of protecting their citizens. When he took his oath of office, the president says he swears to protect the Constitution. And what does that same Constitution says? It gives the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights, which is to say every citizen has a right enshrined within that Constitution, and one of which is that to be protected from harm. So if he has failed, it is not Chamisa who should be excusing himself. No, in fact, that should be reason for Chamisa to say, therefore, I need to campaign to get into power because I want to do it much better. It is the president who swore that oath to protect. He must protect the citizens, of which Nelson Chamisa is one, and he must be protected together with all his supporters. That is the role of government, Gambako. That is the role of...
Doc, let's play it. You see, I'm really wanting to hear this speech. And I want to thank Skululekile for sending me, Smanda, for sending me this clip. So let's hear what Vice President Chwenga said. And please listen carefully. Let's not put words in people's mouth. Sorry, guys. I think we're losing sound here. So let's redo this again. Let's try again. I want to hear this speech. Okay, guys, I don't know what's happening. We are not able to hear this speech for some reason.
I hope you are not deliberately muting it, because probably we could all hear that.
Why would you? Why would I? I don't know what's wrong with the CCC guys. You know, like, you don't understand journalism. You think it's my job to...
Kambabo, yeah. Let me tell you, propaganda by its nature has short legs. And the truth always has a way of overpowering lies.
Vamwe vambomhanya ndanzwa pachitarwa panapa wakati pasi neka triple C wakati pasi neka akana zvakanokwanisa munoona kana inda ichitswanyiwa nedombo munoisa paruware motsika mokuya mosha kana nhunzi inoshayiwa chekudya.
There we go.
Hazvibatsire manzwa achebundo achitaura pano kuti haungoenda uchingoita for the sake of opposing. You can't oppose every time. Even the best thing to be done in a country, you oppose. Iwe sani. Zvino haiwa takakura saGoriati, toda kukaona kana nguva yakwana. Ndinoda kutora mukana uno.
Right, Doc.
Here we go.
I'm very sorry, Doc. I'm very sorry, Doc, but Vice President Wenger did not say he was going to crush Chamisa like lies. No, people are putting words in his mouth. That's not what he said. That's not what he said.
It Triple C and Chamisa. You see, when you listen, Rwanda happened because a political leader decided to compare human beings to cockroaches that can be doomed, that can be wiped out within days. There was, within 6 months, 800,000 people had died. To say to a political party with a leader, to compare it to a little little lies, and say that we crush it. Gambakwe.
No, that's not what he said.
And that
I think
even
this is where I want to come back, Doc. I think there's a habit to twist words and also to be unkind. I think Vice President General Wenger, he was speaking of peace. You heard what he said in the beginning. If we go back to the beginning of that speech, he was talking about peace. In the very same sentence, and people are being selective. That's why I'm saying there's danger here that something could happen because people are just on edge. Let's replay this. I want you to understand the first portion, and then we'll move on. I think it's very unfair what is happening to Vice President General Wenger. He did not say that he's going to crush Chamisa like lies. Let's listen again.
Munyika muine runyararo. Vamwe vambomhanya ndanzwa pachitarwa panapa wakati pasi neka Triple C, vamwe wakati pasi neka akana zvakanokwanisa. Munoona kana inda ichitswanyiwa nedombo, munoisa paruware motsika mokuya mosha kana nhunzi inoshayiwa chekudya.
Stop there, Gambakwe. Stop right there.
Azvibatsire.
Gambakwe, on that note, if you have got any other comment, I think on that note, I will reserve my comments. I will stop there. It is clear, all of us can hear that, you know, the whole analogy that is being given there, to take lies, put on hard rock and crush it to a point where even houseflies have nothing to pick out of there. In reference to what? Gambakwe, leaders, political leaders, especially those in high offices, this is where they have to hold their mouths, where they have to exercise extreme caution in what they say. If you think those words are not inciting, and that a day after they were said, one person was killed at a political rally of the same Triple C, whose analogy it was referred to, then you and others who believe that what he was saying is nothing, you are beyond redemption. Those words should be condemned, should not be said by leaders. That's all I can say, Gambakwe.
Okay, I think, Doc, let's leave this for Saturday. I think we've made our points. 1 hour is past. And I've made my point, you've made your point. A lot of people here in the comments have had a chance to speak. I want to end with one word for Nelson Chamisa, and that is his approach to say that he's going to stop journalists who are going to not report what he likes. I want him to know that I don't want to come to his rallies. He must not invite me, he must not look for me, I won't come there. And we'll meet in the front in future. I don't want to be near him or his party, because my job is not to impress CCC or to impress anybody. I do what I do, and I've been doing this since my first media house was when I was a student at NAST in 1999. That is more than 22 years ago. So if he doesn't like journalists who don't write what he likes, that's all good. I'm not even concerned about it. I don't lose sleep. If you look right now, this week, we have more than 40 stories on CCC. We don't need to be at his rally to write stories about him. So that is the last word I have on Chamisa and his threat to journalists. And especially, I see it as a threat when he says, you cannot
where
come.
did he say, by the way, it skipped me. I never heard anywhere where he blocked journalists from coming to his rallies. In fact, I've seen them accredit journalists, give them tags for their own, for easy observation and for their protection. I don't know where this is coming from. What you
okay, let's play it for you. Let's play it for you.
Okay.
We have enough mechanisms to make sure that we will protect citizens who come to our rallies. Once bitten, twice shy. That also entails that those who are associated with ZANU-PF may not be able to have access to our rallies. And that entails across the spectrum. Because we've seen that our own laxity, our own magnanimity and generosity is being abused. We will limit access to our venues to those who are genuine journalists, who are not working for ZANU, and we know you. We will not allow you.
Right. So if anyone thinks they can limit access to journalists, I'm the first person. I get comments every day that work for ZANU, right? So that is what I was saying, Doc. The polarization in the environment is coming from both sides. It's not coming from one side. And we need to understand that this is the situation. One side sees only what they want to see, and the other side sees only what they want to see. So in my view, this topic needs to be continued on Sunday or on Saturday. Let's see what happens. Chamisa has a decision on his hands, either to go there and show how brave he is, or to postpone these rallies until the investigations are complete, and we'll see who exactly is behind the issues that are happening, the security threats that are there now. Because I don't think it's ZANU-PF who are behind this.
Gambagwe, what the CCC is engaged in is a struggle, a democratic struggle. Between 1978-79, in fact, the period leading from 1975 with the death of Advocate Herbert Chitepo, we know the other notable guerrillas who died, could have scared the Patriotic Front, could have scared the freedom fighters from executing the struggle. They could have decided to go home and stay. They could have decided that, no, our champions are dying. They could have decided to say, no, our cadres are dying. But in fact, at that stage, that's when they realized that, in fact, at that time, Smith, Ian Douglas Smith was saying, not in 1,000 will this country be ruled by a black man. In fact, he made it even more difficult for the liberation struggle fighters to even execute the struggle. But what did President Mugabe and others do? They intensified it, and they won Zimbabwe for independence. What is different now? Why should Chamisa be stopped simply because they are intimidated by people who cannot fathom that this is a struggle for a free Zimbabwe, for everyone, even for those who are sent to perpetrate violence. Chamisa should continue, in fact. Chamisa should be encouraged. In fact, this is the time where a diplomatic offensive on the region should be launched to come to bear on the regime in Zimbabwe to say, hey, you have to behave. You have to treat your citizens well. So there is no basis, Gambakwe, for your opinions on Chamisa stopping or being brave. It's a struggle. And a struggle has pitfalls, has highs and its lows. And if you ask me, Nelson Chamisa is on the right road. And nothing that is good comes easy. No freedom comes on a silver platter. It comes through a struggle. And the Triple C is the only platform that provides that leadership for this democratic start. Thank you very much, Kabak.
Thank you very much, Doc.
I